And off we go. What a world we live in. Nigel Pearson followed by Mick McCarthy. Can you imagine it? Deary me. Another promoted manager, a double promoted manager. Okay, no one can really hold a candle to Warnock in this regard, but promoted with Sunderland and Wolves, and very well known to me as an Ipswich fan. Good old Mick, aged 62. He's been in at Cardiff since January, of course. Millwall, twice Ireland manager. We've already mentioned Sunderland, Wolves and Ipswich. Should have a strangely short spell in Cyprus over at Hallewell, but I've put there safe hands. Cardiff are out of parachute payments now, aren't they? Spent year one a bit under Neil Warnock, the rest of it under Neil Harris. Lost in the playoffs, didn't they? And wasn't working out with Harris. They went for Mick, and he went on a mad run at the start of things, 6-7 game winning streak, and then things tailed off a little bit. So what we do know about Mick McCarthy is that if he's got anywhere competitive players, he'll get the team competitive. The worry is if the higher-ups at Cardiff expect him to do it with zero money, because I can tell you firsthand, yes, he'll stabilise and make you competitive, but, and I know he's taken Dave Bowman there with him now, he won't be able to pull rabbits out of the hat forever, and in the end it did tail off fairly swiftly for Ipswich after an amazing playoff campaign in 2014-15. Very funny, very amusing, very pragmatic. We'll see how good old Mick has Cardiff going next season. Let me know what you think in the comments. And here is Mark Robbins, who's becoming very, very experienced now. At Coventry is Mark Robbins, and he has been there since March 2017. Is that the same month as Mowbray, or must be close? Mustn't it? I can't remember exactly. Someone tell me in the comments. So Robbins has been at Coventry for ages and had been there before. Look at that. Rotherham, Barnsley, Coventry the first time, Huddersfield, Scunthorpe. And in this current stint, it's been really good. Won the EFL Trophy, League Two and a League One promotion in this current stint. And that's all with the backdrop. I mean, we talked about Lee Bowyer and Du Châtelet. Well, what about Robbins and what they called Sisu at Coventry? Because they've been really good the past 2-3 seasons. Played really nice football in League One. I always say about League One, it's rudimentary, just do your job. But if you can play football in League One and you can do it competently, you will finish very, very high up the league. And Coventry managed to do that. Last season, really striking was their strong end to the season. And they were kind of meandering. And then when the chips were down, they really had something about them. And they've got a lot of firepower that they've added now as well. So it could be an interesting one, Coventry. I wonder whether they can follow in sort of Luton and Barnsley's steps. Maybe not Barnsley and way up in the playoffs, but certainly, okay, it's a championship team and it's moving upwards. And we know that that's very, very difficult. And Bristol City and Millwall, Preston, whoever, keep chipping away. But there's definitely upward motion at Coventry, and Robbins has clearly been behind all of that. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. And here he is, probably our biggest name. That doesn't mean he's the best manager, but certainly the biggest name. Derby County and Wayne Rooney, just 35. Goodness me. So, no jobs before this. Took over from Philip Koku with Derby bottom. And he did have them survive, but we all know it was by the absolute skin of their teeth. I don't buy the argument that it was Sheffield Wednesday's 6-point deduction, because they knew about that for the longest time. And certainly, let's be quite frank about it, the two sides played each other on the last day of the season, and that game had to be navigated. And Sheffield Wednesday could have won that game, couldn't they? And I think context was very clear on the last day of the season. But Rooney kept Derby up. Look, I don't know whether he's any good as a football manager for a couple of reasons. One is that it's very hard to have a sensible conversation about Wayne Rooney because of his status in the game. People start to let their emotions take over, and you get sort of Rooney derangement syndrome, and people either want to call him the best thing ever or the worst thing since sliced bread, and we don't get much sensible dialogue about, okay, what's he actually done? What's he doing? The other thing is that the situation at Derby is just awful, isn't it? The owner wants out. They've had takeovers, trying and failing for it seems like about 18 months now. They're going to have to present their books again in sometime in August, I think was the date, and there could be a points deduction there come in as well. They don't seem to have many players, so this possibly could be one of the harder jobs in the Championship. I know the promoted teams will argue, okay, well look, we just come from League One, but I don't know. Would you rather manage a nice stable Blackpool or something, Peterborough or Hull, or a completely chaotic Derby? I don't know. So it's very hard to tell how good or bad Wayne Rooney is. Obviously, results were very, very bad last season, especially towards the end, after a really good run as well. But how much can you put that down to the chaos rather than his capacity as a manager? And please, sensible dialogue about Mr. Rooney, please. Not much of it appears to exist, let's just say. But feel free to have your say in the comments on Rooney over at Derby. Here's a new one. Marco Silva, and it's a big name. Marco Silva in at Fulham. Premier League experience with 3 different teams, Silva. He's 44, like we said. He's just taken over this month at Fulham. I think last one into a job because there seem to be lots of mutual consenting and contracts being torn up at Bournemouth and at Fulham in order to move Parker across there. So I think Silva was probably done a long while ago, but just needed to get everything sorted to drop him in there in July. And interesting fella, this one. Been at Estoril, Sporting and Olympiacos, so lots of European experience there. Then comes in at Hull, who I think ultimately went down, didn't they? But he got them pushing, he got them going. Big reputation. Then he goes to Watford on the back of that reputation and seems to very much agitate for a move to Everton, which didn't really ingratiate him with the Watford fans. Then he goes off to Everton. I think he had a good finish at Everton and then was fired the next season. So he's managed to parlay his way into some really, really good situations here. And at 44 with 3 Premier League jobs, will likely think that he's a top-level manager, you would think. So it looks on the surface like a club, Fulham, that I used to be in the Premier League, or certainly been bouncing between it for the last 2 or 3 seasons, either being in the Premier League or being at the top or promoted from the Championship. Last 2 seasons for Fulham, they have been promoted in the playoffs both times under Jukanovic and Parker. So assuming that Silva can navigate the swamp that the Championship can be, and there's not too much in terms of chaos from above from the Khan family, and they can keep a number of that squad. I know a lot of the players in the Premier League, Lookman, Loftus-Cheek, Areola, Anderson, Lamina, a lot of them were on loans, weren't they? But he's got the pre-season to fix it, and if he is a tenured 3-club Premier League manager, at a year 1 parachute team, he will be expected and expecting to take them up. But hey, we know the Championship likes to chew up and spit out even the slightest bit of incompetence when managers show it. So let's see how that goes. Let me know how you think Marco Silva would go. You'd think, if he knows what he's doing, as with a lot of the year 1 parachute teams, it could be plain sailing, but never, ever that simple, is it? Thoughts in the comments? Off we go to Huddersfield. Another young one. Look, 38. Carlos Corberon, who has done a season now at Huddersfield. They've been previously in Cyprus there. That's notes for me, not you, don't worry. Doxa and Ermis in Cyprus. And under 23 coach and a first team coach, I think at the same time as well, under Marcelo Bielsa, who really liked him, I think. And let's be very honest about this. Loads of people, me included. Did I have Huddersfield to go down? I think maybe just on the edges. Yeah, I think I did. Just on the edge. So I think I was quite close with Huddersfield. Loads of people had Huddersfield getting relegated last season. Remember, the parachute payment was swamped up. It was eaten by the new ownership and basically given as, you know, that's your assurance to go out the door. You can keep parachute money. So no one really coming in. Carlin Grant was a big sale out. Lots of legacy contracts. And Corberon is building this from the ground up. And you have to say, survival and viability, anything like that was a good job last season. And Huddersfield will hope to build on that. What was it, 20th? Yeah, 20th place. I have to say, like many sides, they're quite unlucky with injury as well last season, with Karoma and Aiting dipping out at important times. They've been busy early in the transfer market. He's very stubborn about the way he wants to play, so much so that he did show up at Norwich where everyone had been playing a low block and be open. And what did they lose? 7-0? I think. So, you know, that's a good thing when it works and a bad thing when it doesn't, obviously. But yeah, quite like the cut of his jib, and it just depends whether they can give enough stability and everything around him at Huddersfield. Could turn out to be a good hire, but he really does need to build on that 20th and start creating some stars as well, because we all know you need that recruitment churn and that money coming in with those relegated teams coming down every season. Let me know what you think about Carlos Corberon. And we will talk about Hull City's Grant McCann, 41, pretty experienced for 41 as well. He's been at Hull since June 2019. Nigel Atkins left as the parachute money ran out there, I think. He's been at Peterborough and Doncaster as well before. League One playoff semi-final loser with Doncaster, I think on penalties as well, to Charlton. Joined Hull, relegated from the Championship, but come on, Alams and selling Bowen and Grzycki, they were fairly well in the top half before they sold their two most vital players, which took all the output and all the goals out of their team, down to the down into League One, and he won it. So there's lots of arguments here that this guy knows what he's doing. And we said, okay, we've got 7 Championship promotion winners, but Grant McCann, long term across the season, seems to be able to get a team playing, certainly at League One level, and he now needs to prove himself at Championship level. And if he does, he will start to become sought after. Can he do it this season at Hull? You let me know what you think in the comments. A lot of potential there. Will he realise it this season? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.